Most of President Biden's economic plans are still just plans. But if they're approved, will they help or hurt your retirement? I am Wes Wood, the Income Guy and founder and president of Wood Financial Group. And for nearly 20 years, I've specialized in helping hardworking Tennesseans just like you reach their retirement goals through income-based financial strategies. And if you're looking for the right solutions to achieve your own financial goals, I can help. Just reach out to me at retiretv.com or by calling 615-826-5749 during today's show or at any time. So far, many of the economic measures passed by the Biden administration have been aimed at relief and recovery from the coronavirus. But broader measures are in the works, which could impact your retirement plan. So the question is, will they impact you positively or negatively? And we'll try to answer those questions for you today. So we're going to talk about President Biden's plan for changes to IRA and 401k contributions, possible changes to taxes, Social Security, and Medicare, and potential changes to laws governing brokers and financial advisors. And joining me again this week is David Scranton. David is an investing for income specialist with over 30 years in the business, and he's also a best-selling author and television host. But before we get to Dave, let's talk about what President Biden's plan could mean for your strategies that you use to grow your money. So, basically, Biden wants to end upfront tax breaks for contributing to a traditional 401k or an IRA and replace those with a flat tax credit. So why is this, you may ask? According to the Biden team, is to make tax breaks equitable across the income scales. They believe that the current system that's in place benefits high earners more than those middle and low income earners for a couple of reasons. One of them is that the high income earners are in a better position to max out those retirement plans. Another one is that they pay a higher tax bracket with the marginal rates, and they're able to eke out most of their tax savings when that part of their income is no longer taxed. So again, President Biden's plan is to replace all of that with a flat tax credit. And that would mean some of the lower tax brackets would benefit the same as the higher tax brackets for the same contribution amounts. So what does that really mean for you? On balance, it means that a traditional 401k plan will become potentially more valuable for low and medium income workers and less valuable for those high earners. Although obviously it won't change the fact that higher income earners are already in a better position to save more for retirement in the first place. Plus, higher income earners still have other options for taxes, such as doing Roth IRA conversions to help maximize their saving strategies. However, some economists are concerned about the potential impact on small businesses. They say it reduces the incentive for businesses to even match employer contributions to their 401k plan or even to offer a 401k at all. But coming up, I'll talk about President Biden's plans for your taxes and Social Security and Medicare benefits. But right now, you can learn more by reading my timely report, The Case for Fixed Income. And it comes with your free retirement income kit, which you can get by visiting retiretv.com or by calling 615-826-5749. But now, let's welcome David Scranton. David is the founder of Sound Income Strategies and the Retirement Income Store. Hello, David. Thank you for joining me again today.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to see you, as usual.
Good to see you.
You're looking healthy as ever, which is good. But as the summer fades, so will your tan. All right, pal. So just remember that your tan's going to fade.
Is that right? Yeah, you're right about that.
But not for now. Mm-hmm. But listen, in terms of these tax plans, I mean, I know it's premature at this point, but I think it seems like when it comes to your 401k, that the Biden plan, you know, whether it hurts you or helps you depends upon your overall income, whether you're a high income earner or maybe a moderate income earner, right?
David, that's exactly right. Like I mentioned a little earlier in the segment, it's really going to negatively affect probably the higher income earners more than the lower income earners. For example, if a high income earner is taxed at the marginal rate of, let's just say 36%, and they put $10,000 into their 401k, well, they're going to save $3,600 on that contribution as it stands now. And the lower income earners, let's just say they're at a 12% bracket, put in the same $10,000, well, they're going to save $1,200. Quite a bit of difference there. But if the new rule passes and now we're dealt a tax break across every income bracket at 26%, well, everybody, whether you're a high income earner over $400,000 or a low to medium income earner, you're going to get the same break no matter what. So it does affect people differently depending on their income that they're collecting now.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I guess higher income taxpayers usually have other ways to save taxes when it comes right down to it anyway. So, you know, at the end, they probably won't be losing much. They'll just find a creative strategy to get it back another way, right?
Typically, that's what we find. And those higher income earners typically have more money that they're able to put into retirement savings account, maybe max out those accounts, whereas a lower income earner may not have as much disposable income to put into those retirement accounts as well. So yeah, we'll just have to, you know, really wait and see, but that's what it's looking at.
And these tax law changes right now are threatening to change other parts of people's retirement planning too, other than the 401k, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, with catch-ups, for instance. So folks that are older that are able to actually may be able to put more money into their retirement savings plans, like 401ks and IRAs, up to $10,000 more as a catch-up, or into a 401k or 403b or another employer-sponsored program, and up to $5,000 more into a traditional IRA. And another thing that we're seeing that potentially going to happen is folks that are going to be taking out RMDs. They're talking about moving the age from 72 years old to 75 years old with the Secure Act, what we call the 2.0 Secure Act. And Dave, I want to say thanks again, but stay with us. We're going to talk more in just a bit. Coming up after the break, I'll talk about how President Biden's economic plans could affect your taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. I'm Wes Wood, the Income Guy, and you're watching the Retirement Income Show.
A fiduciary is someone legally obligated to act in your best interest. Doctors, lawyers, and some financial advisors are fiduciaries, but not all. When you work with Wes Wood and his team at Wood Financial Group, you are working with fiduciaries. They help clients create customized investment portfolios based off their retirement goals. If you're ready to work with a fiduciary, visit retiretv.com and schedule a free, no-obligation conversation with Wes or a Wood Financial Group advisor.
Hi, I'm Wes Wood, founder of Wood Financial Group. There are hundreds of different ways you can claim your Social Security benefits, but the difference between the best way versus the second best way could be the difference in tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. You don't want to miss out on an income stream that could help fund your retirement dreams. Go to retiretv.com to claim your custom Social Security analysis from Wood Financial Group. We can help maximize your Social Security benefits in retirement.
Retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs are great tools to save for retirement. They offer tax advantages to help keep more money in your pocket. But withdrawing money from your accounts can have a huge impact on your tax liability. Take money from the right account at the right time and you could minimize it. But taking money from the wrong account at the wrong time could result in a big tax burden. If you're not sure what you should do with your 401k in retirement, visit retiretv.com to schedule a free, no-obligation conversation with Wes Wood and Wood Financial Group.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Wes Wood, the Income Guy. And today we're exploring the question, will President Biden help or hurt my retirement? So far, we've talked about President Biden's proposed changes for 401ks and IRAs. But now let's look at what may be in store for your tax bill and your Social Security and your Medicare benefits. As you may know, Biden's tax plan includes increasing corporate tax rates, raising them up, raising the top federal income tax rates as well, and increasing payroll taxes on households earning more than $400,000 of income a year or more. The Tax Foundation estimates that under the plan, the top 1% of U.S. taxpayers would see their after-tax income reduced by 11.3% a year. Those in the 90 to 95th percentile would lose about 2%, while the middle class would see really no change at all. The payroll tax hike is meant to address shortfalls in the Social Security Trust Fund, which, if that's neglected, could result in the need for benefits to reduce within 15 years. And as for changes to Social Security itself, some people would see their benefits increase under the Biden's plan. For instance, if you're already receiving benefits, you could see for more than 20 years, you could see a 5% bump in your benefits, go up by 5%. And if you're a widow or widower, you could receive as much as 20% more every single month of income from Social Security. And in addition to that, the annual cost of living adjustments, known as the COLA, on Social Security would be measured not by the current levels, which is under the Consumer Price Index as it is now, but under the Consumer Price Index for elderly, known as CPIE. And CPIE is designed specifically to track the inflation challenges faced by retirees, which are greater than those of younger Americans for a lot of reasons. Chiefly among those reasons is the need for more health care, which is one reason why Biden's plan also calls for lowering the eligibility for Medicare from age 65 down to 60. And coming up, I'll talk more about some of President Biden's proposed changes for regulations in the financial industry, changes that may impact the products and services offered by your broker or advisor. But right now, here's your chance to order your copy of my timely report, 10 Signs You're Working with a True Income Specialist. And it's free with your Retirement Income Kit, and it's all yours by visiting retiretv.com or by calling my office directly at 615-826-5749. But now, let's welcome back income specialist Dave Scranton.
You know, Wes, it's funny. I know Republicans always say that, hey, be careful for getting a Democrat in office because, you know, they're going to raise the taxes. And I know you try to be apolitical on this show, which is great, but it sounds like that's what you're afraid of. It sounds like that's where we're headed for many Americans.
Well, Dave, it's no secret that President Biden is going to tax the folks that are making more money and have higher wealth. For instance, anybody that has income over $400,000 could see their bracket go from 37% up to 39.6%. And their payroll taxes would increase over $400,000 of income. Also, we could see capital gains increase for the wealthier, higher income earners. So definitely focusing on those higher income earners. Matter of fact, only about 1.8% of the population has over that $400,000 of income, but they account for potentially 25% of the tax revenues that this new bill could make people pay.
That's an interesting statistic, Wes. And I think the other place that those 1.8 are going to get affected is when it comes to the increase in the FICA taxes, both the ceiling and the rate, which in theory is a good thing because we know we need to fix the Social Security system. The question is, is it enough and will the money find the right spot?
That's right. And we know that Social Security is now underfunded and it could, it could basically see benefits decrease in roughly 15 years from now. So something needs to happen to shore up the solvency of the system. And it seems like both sides of the aisle could get together on this, but as we know, sometimes, especially in today's world, Democrats and Republicans can hardly agree on a thing. But to tax folks on more of their wages through the payroll tax would definitely put more money into the trust fund, which could help shore up that solvency of the Social Security system. So if it does get passed, that'll at least go to help make sure that Social Security is going to be around longer for folks that are retired.
And of course, my concern, even though it hasn't happened yet, and I think the reason it hasn't happened is because the financial markets are expecting a strong negotiation, and the president will only get a small part of what he's asking for. But my concern is that tax increases can spook the financial markets, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about capital gains increasing, especially for the wealthier folks, that's a good indication that, or that could be a good predictor that the markets are going to go down. Another one is that if you increase corporate tax rates, well, in effect, what happens is that the net profits for companies will go down, and we're still in a recovery, and so all of these things combined could stall out a recovery in the market, therefore creating perhaps another drop in the market. So the big fear for investors and our clients that have money in the stock market could be we could see a drop in the market due to some of the things within this bill which are increasing taxes for sure. But that goes to point out as well is that it's a good idea to make sure that, we'll talk about in just a little while, about making sure that your plan is flexible, focused on income, and getting ahead of this thing before it does happen.
So if it spooks the market, obviously you'll react proactively to try to help your clients protect their money. But if it doesn't spook the markets, it seems to me as income specialists, we're not going to make any major changes in how we invest for people just because the tax rates are a little bit higher, right? I mean, you don't want to let the tax tail wag the investment dog, as I've heard you say hundreds of times.
Yeah, exactly. And we need to keep in mind as well is that we're talking about maybe it affecting folks that have more than $400,000 of income. And I don't know about you, Dave, but a lot of my clients are well below that number. Now, maybe for folks that have much more than $400,000 of income, but people in retirement, very, very rare do we see that happening. Do we need to make some adjustments for tax purposes? But you're right. If this doesn't get passed or just a small portion of it gets passed, it may not have much of an effect on the markets. But if it does get passed and some of these larger bills and tax bills are, then we do need to be flexible when it comes to even in the income model. But Dave, thank you again, and stick around. And coming up, I'll talk about what Biden's plans may mean to your financial advisor and how you work together.
A fiduciary is someone legally obligated to act in your best interest. Doctors, lawyers, and some financial advisors are fiduciaries, but not all. When you work with Wes Wood and his team at Wood Financial Group, you are working with fiduciaries. They help clients create customized investment portfolios based off their retirement goals. If you're ready to work with a fiduciary, visit retiretv.com and schedule a free, no-obligation conversation with Wes or a Wood Financial Group advisor.
Hi, I'm Wes Wood, founder of Wood Financial Group. There are hundreds of different ways you can claim your Social Security benefits, but the difference between the best way versus the second best way could be the difference in tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. You don't want to miss out on an income stream that can help fund your retirement dreams. Go to retiretv.com to claim your custom Social Security analysis from Wood Financial Group. We can help maximize your Social Security benefits in retirement. Welcome back. I'm Wes Wood, the Income Guy. Thanks for tuning in to today's show titled, Will President Biden Help or Hurt My Retirement? So far, we've looked at President Biden's proposed changes to 401ks and IRAs and to taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. But now let's talk about the changes that may affect the way you work with your broker financial advisor and how they work with you. You know, it's no secret that President Trump's administration rolled back the Department of Labor, DOL's much debated fiduciary rule. That law was intended to protect investors by holding all financial planners to the highest regulatory standard, fiduciary. Fiduciary standard, what does it mean? It's meant to ensure your advisor always puts your financial interest ahead of his own. But as with any type of regulation, the devil is in the details. Often regulations meant to help consumers end up doing more harm than good by putting unreasonable limits on a business. Many felt that this was the case when the fiduciary rule was approved back in 2016. That rule was then struck down in 2018, and a less restrictive version of one was approved just this last year. Supporters of this new softer regulation say it gives advisors more leeway to better serve their clients by offering many different products and services to their clients. But critics say it includes too many exceptions that could allow some advisors to put their own interest ahead of their clients. For instance, by recommending one investment over another because it may net him or her, the advisor, a bigger fee and isn't necessarily best for you, the client. In any case, it's widely expected that a stricter policy will be put back in place by the Biden administration during their term, although probably not as restrictive as the original fiduciary rule. But what does all this regulatory ping pong mean for the everyday investor like you? Well, that all depends on how a stricter regulatory environment will affect your advisor, if at all. I say if at all because some advisors are already being held to the highest standard and always have been. That includes most advisors who specialize in income-generating financial strategies. Even under the current law, most income specialists are held to the fiduciary standard, while others are held to a lesser suitability standard. And that's certainly not likely to change under a stricter policy. So, if your advisor is already a fiduciary, you can rest easy. But if you're not sure, I think it's a good and important thing to ask. Be sure to ask. Before I welcome Dave, here's your last chance to get your free copy of my opening report, 10 Signs You're Working with a True Income Specialist. Again, it comes with your free retirement income kit, available by visiting retiretv.com or by calling us at 615-826-5749. But now, let's welcome back Dave Scranton, income specialist and founder of the Retirement Income Store. Welcome back, Dave.
Well, thank you. You know, it's that we've been dealing with this thing for a while now. Is everyone going to be treated like a fiduciary? Everyone not? And the problem is, you've heard the statistics too, where so many people think that their advisor is a fiduciary. You know, it's always been a fiduciary, and that advisors have to be. Now, you and I act in the capacity of fiduciaries, but not everyone. So, is it a good thing that, you know, once and for all, this issue might get settled for the consumer?
I really believe that it is because there's just so much confusion out there to the typical client. There's so much confusion for the typical customer that's looking to hire a financial advisor. Some advisors, you know, wear two caps. They offer, you know, more fiduciary products and services, but then also the suitability standard as well. So to kind of level the playing field and make every advisor a fiduciary, I think it could be best for our industry overall, but without, you know, going too restrictive and perhaps harming the industry also. So somewhere in the middle here, some type of fiduciary standard to where every client's interests are held above the advisor, I think is a very, very good idea.
Yeah, and of course the goal there, the problem, as you said, with the last fiduciary standard from 2016 was that a lot of smaller clients who are trying to build their net worth, who probably need help the most, they're the ones who might get priced out of this, because ultimately, if a lot of advisors might no longer be able to work with them, and unfortunately that meant that they'd be hurting the same people that they're trying to help. So you think it's going to come through, and you think it's going to be through on a slightly less restrictive way, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Hopefully it can help not only the smaller customers, like you said, due to pricing, but also, you know, the larger clients as well. But again, when somebody is shopping around trying to find the right advisor, I think even if this rule doesn't get passed, it's always a good idea to ask, are you a fiduciary, before working with somebody? Because as a fiduciary like you and me, Dave, you know, we can say with confidence that, hey, if your accounts are doing better, we're doing better with you. Whereas maybe an advisor that's more working on a suitability standard, well, they're maybe paid more commissions and other types of things that generate more revenue for them, even if their clients' accounts aren't necessarily doing a whole lot better. So to me, working as a fiduciary, knowing that, hey, we can put every single time we work with somebody, we're putting their interest above ours is refreshing and good. So no matter what, I think it's a good idea to work with a fiduciary.
Yeah, we make more money when you make more money. You actually sounded for a moment like a better-looking Ken Fisher there, but I won't.
Right.
I won't digress. So, I think it'd be helpful if you give your viewers some examples of how some advisors who work for a lot of times the big firms that can manage money on a fiduciary basis or on a commission basis, a suitability standard, as you put it. And how sometimes they're really financial salespeople disguising themselves as fiduciaries, and how you can tell by one's recommendations which is a true fiduciary versus which is the person disguising themselves as a fiduciary.
Yeah, normally the folks that are disguising themselves as fiduciaries, if you will, use more cookie cutter types of programs. For instance, they may do just a simple risk tolerance questionnaire, put it into the computer system, it generates an algorithm, and then of the different allocations that they have available, then they pick that allocation based on whatever that risk tolerance is. And it may only be 3, 4, or 5 different allocations they're choosing from, but they're basically just selling that type of product. Whereas a true fiduciary, in my mind, sits down with a client, gets to know their situation, gets to know their goals, their needs, their risk tolerance, and then really with a client, working with them, coaches the client through the different types of investments that are available to them, and then helps them design a portfolio for their needs individually, not just a cookie cutter type of program that many of these other brokers and so-called folks that are disguising themselves as a fiduciary.
It always amazes me how you could have 5 or 7 different portfolios. They look like they're custom, but you and I behind the scenes know they're not. And that advisor's job is to sell one of those 5 or 7 portfolios to the prospective client. And you're right, that's not real financial advisory work. So that's what I admire about you, my friend, is even though it's more work, you're not afraid to do things the right way.
That's right, Dave. Yeah, good point. See it every day. And David, thank you for joining us today. Hey, I'm Westwood, the Income Guy. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions about anything we've covered on today's show, please reach out to me at retiretv.com or by calling 615-826-5749. We'll see you again next week.